The Lord be with you and good morning, everyone. We are part of the third year BSA students in our Business College, school year 2022 to 2023. For this video, we're going to present to you a chapter under operations auditing. To be more specific, we're going to present the chapter called Auditing the Finance and Accounting Practices. Before we formally start, let me first introduce to you my group mates. We have Sally Ligaspi, Jessa Romera, and Joy Sura. We're going to see them in the latter part of this video. To formally start, let's first have a background to the topic that we are going to discuss. When we've heard of the word operational auditor or internal auditor perhaps, yung unang pumapasok sa isip natin is maybe sila yung nagre-review of accounting records. But as we have learned, internal auditors encompass many things, which include or related to the operations of an entity. But dito sa topic natin ngayon is focus muna tayo sa accounting functions and recording. Una, examine muna natin yung financial at accounting aspects of an organization. Then, under nun is itutakal natin yung systems and functions na related nga sa financial and accounting areas. Then, inanarrow down natin siya at bibigyan emphasis yung relative control objectives and yung control issues dun sa specific activities nila. Mamaya, mas magigets nyo yung sinasabi kong topics natin. So, to give you an overview of the topics that we're going to tackle, here are the list of key functions, systems, or activities. We have payroll, treasury, accounts payable, accounts receivable, general ledger or management accounts, fixed assets, budgeting and monitoring, bank accounts and banking arrangements, sales tax or VAT accounting. We also have taxation, inventories, product or project accounting, petty cash and expenses, financial information and reporting, and investments. So, first, let's go to Treasury. Primarily concerned with the adequacy of funding and the accountability for transactions, which are normally by the nature of high value, given those two high profile attributes, it is preferable that Treasury operations are driven by authorized policies and procedures. So, Treasury involves the management of money and financial risk in a business. Its priority is to ensure that the business has the money it needs to manage its day-to-day business obligations, while also helping develop its long-term financial strategy and policies. Then, punta tayo sa control objectives for Treasury. Una, to ensure that the organization's funds are appropriately managed with the aim of providing adequate levels of working capital. Unang objective natin under Treasury ay dapat daw na ma-manage ng maayos yung fund ng isang organization para daw magkaroon din tayo ng maayos na working capital o yung current asset minus current liability natin. Mahalaga to para maging liquid tayo. Halimbawa, may pambayad tayo sa incoming liabilities natin with cash. Second objective, to ensure that the suitable and secure investments, financial instruments, etc. are utilized to the maximum benefit of the organization and within the constraints of the prevailing laws and regulations. The second naman, para daw ma-ensure natin na may-utilize or magamit natin ng maayos yung ating financial instruments and investments. Kasi by this way, mag-benefit in the long run yung ating company. Third, to ensure that the treasury staff are suitably experienced and qualified and operate within the limits of established policy and practices. Third objective naman natin is para daw ma-ensure natin na yung mga tauhan natin sa Treasury Department ay may sapat na experience or are qualified to handle such matters. Siyempre, in order to maintain the treasury of an organization, kailangan may qualifications like CPAs or financial managers. Di naman pwedeng ipahandle natin siya basta-basta sa normal na employees na walang expertise sa lugar nila. Next, to ensure that Treasury activities are monitored as part of an overall view of risk management. So, dito naman sa letter D, syempre daw para ma-ensure natin na hindi may ignore yung treasury activities because it is also constitutes as an important part of an organization. Then E, to prevent the processing of unauthorized and fraudulent transactions. So, lastly, kasi need natin ma-monitor yung activities, di ba? Siyempre, involved dito is yung finance or pera. Thus, need natin ma-prevent if magkakaroon ng unauthorized or fraudulent transactions. Yun yung third tips. Ngayon naman, pupunta tayo sa risk and control issues for Treasury. Yun na, sa key issues muna tayo. As senior management, the board established and issued a written policy governing treasury operations, authorized transaction types, financial limits, etc. So dito, isa sa key issues niya is meron daw bang established written policy regarding sa treasury operations. Kung mababalikan natin sa previous lessons natin, particularly sa components of internal control na hindi magkaroon ng written policy, hindi naman pwedeng sabihin mo na lang orally yung policies kung basta expect na employees natin execution sa policies. You have to give them certain policies na dapat nilang sundin, in which includes policies nga sa Treasury Department like pag-authorize ng transactions, limits to expenditures, and etc. Then, has management provided suitably trained treasury personnel and the other necessary resources to ensure that their objectives are achieved? So next naman, na key issues is, nagpo-provide daw ba ng nagpo-provide ba tayo ng trained treasury personnel? So makukuha natin ito by ensuring that there are trainings of the personnel. Did not i-assess if napaglalaanan ba ng proper training sa mga treasurer because they also have to keep up with the training system. So kaya pag nag-secure natin na may proper training sila and ibibigay din natin yung other resources kailangan nila like materials man o hindi, basta nagagamit nila to perform their work and achieve their overall objective for the company. Next, so ayan, our treasury staff provided with adequate, accurate, relevant, and timely data to support their decision-making and trading activities. So ito din isa sa pinakamahalagang key issues. So we have to secure na yung mga information na dadating sa treasury department ay tama at timely. Siyempre, kapag mali yung tanggap nilang information, let's say, yung budget na hiningi sa kanila ay over than what is required, then magiging mali din yung decision nila. Malaking budget yung ilalabas nila kasi yun ang happen sa kanila na required na amount of money. Then next, are all treasury transactions supported with accurate documentations, authorizations if required, and effective audit rates? Dito naman, regarding to sa mga past transactions na isa din daw, key issue is whether merong accurate documentation or record yung transactions such as audit trail and if authorized bin transactions. So bakit ba ito mahalaga? Key issue siya kasi those records are needed in order to prove na walang anomalies or tamang transactions. Paano mo prove na may binayaran talagang ganitong expense yung Treasury Department if wala sila mapakita ng receipts and authorizations na maglabas ng fund, di ba? Yun. Then, are all treasury transactions and fund movements accurately accounted for, correctly and recorded in the accounting system and reported to management? Yung last key issues na ninote ko dito sa Treasury is if yung mga transactions daw ba ay accurately accounted, meaning tama ba yung amount na nire-record natin? If tama ba yung input natin sa accounting system and is reported to the management. So may mga chances kasi talaga na magkakaroon tayo ng error sa pag-record. Halimbawa, hihingi sa atin ng fund na 1 million. Then tama naman na 1 million binigay natin dun sa department na hingi. But when we recorded it, we have input just 100,000 pesos. Nag-error siya, nagkulang ka ng isang lagang zero. But the record is already materialized. So, meron kasing ganitong cases. Kaya dapat may internal control din tayo regarding sa recording in accounting system para iwasan yung ganitong errors. So, of course, need din natin na mag-report sa management para maging transparent na walang anomalies na nangyayari sa Treasury Department. So, ayan. Next, dadako naman tayo sa detailed issues. Dito, pumili lang din ako ng 5 and I think most common issues na pwede ma-encounter regarding sa Treasury Department. So, yung kanina, parang main issues, ngayon naman, yung mas specific na issue, yung tatalakayin natin. So, una, are the Treasury policy and operational procedures regularly reviewed, maintained, and kept up to date? So, itong isyung ito is, meron daw bang regular monitoring sa Treasury Department? And if nag-set kasi ng policy, hindi lang siya one-time process. You have to consistently monitor If nasusunod ba siya throughout the time. Kasi minsan, sa una lang maayos, sa una lang magaling, paglipas ng ilang months, di na masyadong inaayos ng employees. And that is what we must take account here, yung regular monitoring. So we should have a regular view if nasusunod pa ba yung policies, and of course, need din natin siya i-update. Let's first say may need events sa system in order to put up sa external market. Basta mayroong continuous improvement and monitoring, kahit na wala tayong problema pagdating sa policies sa Treasury Department. Next, how are unauthorized staff prevented from initiating and processing unauthorized treasury transactions? So next detailed issue natin is regarding naman sa pagpigil na magkaroon ng unauthorized staff from making transactions. So let's think about it. In a company or organization, we have different departments, and all of which have their own distinct functions. In every department, meron din yung kanya-kanya role. So one issue is kapag meron daw an authorized person na nag-handle ng treasury transactions. Halimbawa, yung manager, nagkaroon ng access para makapagbigay o transfer siya ng funds sa sarili ng bank account. So those cases are what we would like to prevent. We have the set policies na mape-prevent para magkaroon tayo ng secure transactions. Bawal kung sino lang. Dapat ang may access lang ay kung sino yung talaga sa treasury department and nobody else na walang control over the treasury department. Then next, are treasury staff suitably aware of their obligations and responsibilities in respect of the prevailing policy laws and regulations governing their activities? So dito naman, isang issue is whether knowledgeable ba yung mga treasury staff sa roles and responsibilities nila. Kahit na-train sila na they are professionals, they have to know kung ano yung specific task na dapat nilang gawin. Bawal yung gagawin lang ng isang staff yung gusto niya. He should have his respective obligations to fulfill. And of course, to ensure na yung actions niya is abiding the laws and regulations in respect kung ano mga activity yung nakatalaga sa kanya. So next, how is management assured that non-compliance with current regulations will be detected promptly? This one naman is focused din sa specific procedures kung paano ba nila madedetect if meron yung anomalies na nangyayari. The company should set certain policies to ensure na on a timely basis, all of the operations in Treasury Department are operating in compliance with the rules. Maybe they could have a checklist or they are requiring the staff to comply certain documents as a proof of proper operations in accord with the rules and regulations. Moving forward, how does management make sure that payments of interest and dividends are valid, accurate, and complete? So this one, I included it because I think we have to become aware of the specific transaction issue. Dito, based siya sa payments of interest and dividends. Okay? So, under Treasury Department din, sa kanila, i-record yung mga expenses like sa dividends, expenses, and interest expenses. So, the company also have to set policies para ma-ensure na yung mga ganitong klase ng payments are valid, accurate, and complete nga. So, which means walang ma-omit na info and authorized yung pagbayad. Ayan, so tapos na tayo sa Treasury. Move forward na tayo sa payroll. So, syempre, hindi mawawala sa isang business yung payroll. Maliit man o malaki yung isang business. And to reiterate, ano nga ba yung payroll? So, payroll is the compensation on a business that it must pay to employees for a set period or on a given date. So, it is usually managed by the Accounting or Human Resources Department of a company. Small businesses, payrolls may be handled directly by the owner or an associate. And in most cases, it is likely that personnel costs will represent the greatest proportion of total overheads for an organization. The scope of the following review forms incorporates the initial authorized setup of new employees, the processing of suitably authorized amendments such as salary increase, holiday payments, bonuses, periodic payroll runs, payment arrangements, the correcting accounting for transaction and national insurance deductions, reconciliation of the payroll, and removal of the employees from payroll. Ngayon naman, itataan natin yung control objectives for payroll. A, to ensure that only valid employees are paid and at the correct and authorized rate. Para masigurado natin na mababayaran lang ay yung valid employees. Siyempre, wala nang sweldo yung mga resigned and fired employees. They are basically out of the company na. So we have to take out their payroll sa ating mga babayaran and to ensure na tama yung amount na ibabayad natin sa ating mga employees. So all rates should be followed depending on the situation given. Okay, so mamaya mas matatakil din naman natin to, okay? To ensure that the calculations of all payments and deductions are correct in accord with the relevant taxation and other regulations and requirements. So, isa pang objective natin under payroll ay nga dapat tama yung computations niya. Let's say sa normal production ng employee, sa normal production. So, yung times of hours work, ito times natin sa rate per hour. Then, deduct natin yung amount of tax and other things such as pag-ibig, to health, or anumang insurance yan, mga loans, etc. Next, to ensure that all deductions are correctly disbursed. So, yung third objective naman sa regard sa payroll is ma-ensure na yung deduction sa payroll ng employees natin ay correctly disbursed daw. So, there are certain cases kasi na dinadeduct yung amount sa payroll ng employees but then hindi naman pala siya binabayad ng employer sa respective agency such as sa pag-ibig. So, kumbaga, binubulsan nila. So, dito we have to have an internal control to prevent such matters na gano'n na hindi nila nararamit sa mga insurance. D, to ensure that unauthorized access to the payroll system and data is prevented. So, okay, ito naman, parang tulad lang din sa last topic natin. So, para daw mapigilan natin magkaroon ng unauthorized access sa ating payroll system. So, we have to make sure na only those with the authority can actually see the payroll of the employees. So, bawal natin pamigay sa iba because it's the privacy ng employees kung magkano yung sweldo nila for that specific period. Siyempre, dapat wala makikialam sa system niya. Kasi baka magkaroon ng alterations as to the amount, etc. Next, to ensure that all payroll transactions are accurately reflected in the accounting system. Isa pang objective under payroll is of course dapat yung mga pinapasweldo natin, yung mga payroll transactions natin, yung deductions na binabawas natin sa kanila, yung basic pay nila, etc. Dapat lahat yun is properly recorded sa accounting system. So, hindi sapat yung maayos yung pasweldo natin. Dapat maayos din nating nare-record sa company or accounting system yung pinapasweldo sa kanila. So, next, to ensure that regular and accurate management and statutory information is produced. Ito naman na objective natin is dapat daw mag-aim tayo na merong maayos na management regarding sa ating payroll. Meron din tayong written rules and policies regarding sa pagpapasahod. Moreover, if may update daw na need i-account related to payroll, we should have an employee to handle that. Ngayon naman, dadako na tayo din sa specific and control issues for payroll. So, nahati ulit siya sa dalawa. Una is key issues, then next is detailed issues. Unahin na natin yung key issues. Then, what mechanisms prevent payroll payments being made to invalid or unauthorized persons? Yung unang key issue natin is meron bang certain actions yung company or organization para ma-prevent natin yung pagbabayad ng sa mga hindi naman valid employees. So, let me share lang. Dun sa previous work ng mama ko, nakwento niya na sa akin dun automated log record nila, laging may attendance pa rin yung mga nag-resign na employees. Then sabi niya, most likely daw yung mga payroll nun ay napupunta lang dun sa accountant. Now, it came to me na siguro yung internal control system nila is somehow weak kasi ayun no, nakaalusot pa rin yung attendance and napapasahod pa rin yung mga assigned employees kahit na dapat wala na. So, meaning kasi dapat meron nung nagmo-monitor. So, ayan, para hindi nagdaya yung company. Next, how does management ensure that amounts paid by the payroll are correctly calculated? So, next key issue naman natin is, meron daw bang proper management sa calculation of amounts paid in payroll? So, hindi lang dapat ini-ensure na tama yung mga taong pinapasweldohan. Dapat din daw tama yung magkano yung pinapasahod natin sa kanila. Dapat may key control ng management para hindi lalabis yung pasahod, hindi rin magkukulang. How does management confirm that income taxation and other deductions are accurately calculated and disbursed? Yung susunod na napili ko namang key issue is focus naman sa income tax and other deductions. Dito naman, aside from the basic pay daw, yung mga kinakaltas nating deductions such as tax, PhilHealth, pag-ibig, dapat may policy tayo to ensure na tama yung amount nila. To ensure na hindi tayo nagkakaltas ng sobra-sobra sa ating employees. And ultimately, nare-remit talaga natin sila. Hindi yung kakaltas lang tayo, then hindi naman pala natin i-remit sa mga insurance companies. Next, is management provided with accurate um, payroll cost data on a regular basis to support their decision making or etc. Dito naman, sa key issues na to, make sure na merong updated na payroll cost yung management. Halimbawa, nabago na pala yung compensation rate, tumaas or bumaba na pala. Dapat updated sila doon para tama yung actions na gagawin nila. Like tama yung pag-compute nila ng pagpapasahod. Next, how does management verify that all payroll transactions are correctly reflected in the accounting system in the proper accounting period? So, last key issue naman na napili ko regarding sa payroll is, meron daw bang policies yung company para matiyak na yung amount na pinapasahod sa payroll nga ay nire-record at nai-account ng tama sa accounting system. So, there are times kasi na tama yung pasahod but yung record ay hindi for that specific period. So they should have a policy para monitor na tama yung payroll record to prevent further problems sa ating system. So after natin sa key issues, syempre meron din tayong detailed issues. Dito naman, itakal ulit natin yung mas specific na issues related sa payroll. Ayan. So first, what mechanism prevent the setup of fictitious employees in the payroll system? Isa namang detailed issue with regards to payroll is yung fictitious employees. So, under payroll kasi, may chance na mag-insert yan ng existing employees. So, like, maglalagay sila ng name of worker and papasoldahan nila yon. Kahit in reality, wala namang silang worker o employee na ganun yung name. So, we have to make sure na only real and existing employees are paid. Next, are payroll salary rates correct in relation to agreed pay scales, national rates, etc.? Okay, so yung rate ba na pinapasahod sa employee ay tama? Kada country kasi meron yung iba-ibang rate, of course, sa currency nila. And dito sa Pilipinas, specifically sa Region 4A, as of July 2022, na search ko, yung minimum wage is 356 to 401 pesos. So if normal employees, dapat yung sweldo niya sa payroll is yan, times hours of work. So then minus natin dito deductions. So, sinusunod yung batas, bawal mag-dictate yung employer ng gawa-gawa niyang rate sa pagpapasweldo. Next, are payroll payment transactions like overtime bonus, salary increases, etc. adequately authorized prior to data entry and correctly entered? So, concern naman na to, dapat daw pinapalam din natin sa management if there would be increase in the basic pay. So, for example, if magkakaroon ng overtime pay, if may bonuses like Christmas bonus, major bonus, 13th pay, and such things. So, additional expenses kasi yan sa company, kaya kailangan ma-authorize pa rin siya. Then, syempre, we also have to ensure na yung additional payment sa payroll is mare-record with the correct amount. Next, are payroll runs adequately reconciled with the accounting system and anomalies promptly identified and resolved? Okay, next natin dito is if may proper reconciliation daw ba sa accounting system natin. A brief description lang, di ba kapag sinabi natin reconciliation, parang nagko-compare tayo in order to verify na something is true like sa record natin. So the same is true sa payroll syempre. If meron tayong reconciliations as to physical records and accounting system record, mag-detect agad natin if may error. And thus, ma-resolve din agad siya. So a policy regarding this is also used. And thus is what prevents payroll payments continuing to be made to former staff members who have left the organization. Dito naman sa last issue natin, dapat malaman natin yung reason kung bakit nga ba may mga cases na nag-resign na yung staff sa organization. Pero may kita natin sa payroll, binabayaran pa rin siya. Diba? So, di na siya reasonable kaya we have to establish certain policies para mabawasan yung cases tulad nun. So, dapat after an employee left the company, may action agad para maayos yung payroll list. Then, dako na tayo dun sa third one natin. Ayan, accounts payable. Ito yung last topic na tatakal na ko sa inyo guys. So, I think we're all very familiar with this naman. Accounts payable. Okay, brief definition ng ulit. Accounts payable is money owed by a business to its suppliers shown as a liability in a company's balance sheet. So, in this area, auditors should be taking an overview which incorporates related processes such as linking to the original purchase orders or instructions, confirmation of the receipt of goods services, confirming the accuracy and validity of invoices, obtaining the authority to pay, maintenance of accurate creditor records, and account settlement. So, nandito naman yung control objectives that we have under accounts payable. And una, to ensure that all payments are for valid and suitably approved creditor accounts for goods and services accurately received. So, first objective natin is i-ensure na yung payments sa utang ng company ay valid. So, what I mean by this is, syempre, babayaran lang natin yung creditors na talagang pinagkakautangan natin. Alangan namang magbayad tayo sa isang supplier na wala namang pinapadalang products or wala namang agreement with the company na mag-render sila ng goods or services. Next, to ensure that all payments are correct and accurately reflected in the accounting system. Next objective natin syempre is dapat yung mga payments natin with regarding accounts payable dun sa mga utang natin ay properly recorded in the accounting system. So if magkano yung binayaran, ganun dapat ang input sa accounting system. We have to ensure na yung employees na handling those things are not making profit. Halimbawa, mag-list na sila ng 100,000 na utang, then yung binayaran lang pala nila is 50,000. So one objective natin is maiwasan yung mga ganitong pangyayari. To ensure that the prevailing sales tax or VAT regulations are correctly complied with. Ayan. Next objective naman natin is yung mga sales tax or yung mga added tax sa mga binili or inutang natin. Dapat daw ma-account natin sila properly. Kasi kapag hindi, pwede tayo magka-problema like masira yung reputation natin sa creditors natin or may malabag tayong batas and magkaroon tayo ng sanction regarding that matter. B, to ensure that good relationships are maintained with key suppliers. So, ito isa sa pinakamahalagang objective natin. So, we have to maintain good relationship sa suppliers. We have to make sure na babayaran sila on time and on the right amount. So, why? Because if hindi, maaaring hindi nila tayo pautangin because of bad credit rating natin. So, bakit pa sila magpapautang o mag-lend sa atin if hindi naman pala tayo on time magbayad, di ba? So, key factors sa success natin. If wala tayong creditors that will lend us funds or materials, laking hindrance yun para sa operations natin. Di naman kasi lahat mababayaran agad natin through cash. Then, E, to prevent the possibility of supplier staff malpractice. Then yung last objective natin under accounts payable ay focus sa staff. We also have to make control policies para prevent any malpractice or unwanted actions from our staff. Since sila naman yung major key players dito, we have to monitor them in order to have less problems sa ating accounts payable. Ngayon naman, pupunta na tayo sa ating risk and control issues for accounts payable. So una, sa key issues, how does management ensure that only valid invoices are paid where the goods and services have been correctly and fully received? So, yung first key issue natin is concern siya sa pag-ensure na yung binabayaran lang natin na invoices ay from suppliers na valid. So, meaning dun lang saan na-receive natin. As I said in the main objective nga, we should only pay yung goods and services na na-receive natin or may usapan tayo. So, we can just say na uy, may utang tayo dito without having any proof. Next, what mechanisms prevent the payment of inaccurately priced or calculated or duplicated invoices? Next issue naman is yung computation ng invoices. Hindi lang sapat na maging tama kung sino yung babayaran natin, dapat yung amount na binabayad din natin is tama. Kapag kasi ikaw lang babayad natin, maging pangit na yung record natin sa creditors. So, kapag naman sobra ibabayad, malulugi yung company. So, we have to make sure na exact amount talaga yung babayaran natin. Yung based siya sa accurate calculations of those invoices we have purchased. Next, are all invoices authorized prior to payment and confirmed as being within the agreed budget? So, dito naman sa issue na to, is alamin natin yung payment na gagawin natin sa ating creditors. So, dapat daw authorize sila. Di naman pwedeng mangutang na lang yung isang employees sa suppliers without proper authorization. Kasi nga, may sinusunod tayong budget plan. May certain amount na tayong dapat utangin and bayaran. Kaya, authorization is also a must. Next, how does management ensure that the application and accounting treatment of VAT and duty is correct and in accord with the prevailing legislation or requirements? Next issue natin is concerned sa value-added tax. So, sabi dito, we have to make a control policy na nagmamonitor if yung compliance ba natin with certain legislation ay nasusunod. Alam naman natin we have duties not only to the creditors but also to the other stakeholders. So, kaya kahit outside policies, we have to comply to them. So, in exceptions, all are equal in the eyes of the law. So, what processes ensure that the values of paid accounts and outstanding invoice liabilities are accurately completely reflected in the accounting system? Last key issue natin is meron ba tayong specific policies para ma-secure natin na yung amounts of liabilities na binabayaran natin ay nare-record sa accounting system correctly. So, bawal naman yung record lang tayo ng record ng utang tapos yung pagbabayad natin ay hindi na pala nare-record. So, yeah. Next naman sa key issues, meron tayong detailed issues. So, dito identify natin yung specific issues na para ma-secure natin yung accounts payable. Una, we have how does management ensure that the goods and services being charged for have actually been fully received? Itong detailed issue, pala ito na natin binabanggit, ano ba yung maging proof natin na yung goods or services na charge sa atin is fully received. So in here, we have to set certain policies such as dapat may nakatalagang personnel na physically minomonitor yung natin na supplies, then mag-keep siya ng record. Sa services naman, dapat may documentations or end product as a proof na nag-render talaga sila ng service sa company. So in this way, we can make sure na hindi lang gawa-gawa yung mga inutang natin. Next. Okay. What prevents payments of invoices where the goods were returned or proved to be unsatisfactory? Next naman sa ating issue is kung matatandaan natin sa ating accounting for inventory or sa cost accounting natin regards to supplies, we can choose to return yung mga spoiled or damaged goods na na-receive. Then, magiging kabawasan siya sa cost of goods sold natin dun sa expense natin. So dito, we have to ensure na kapag nagbalik tayo ng item, mababawasan din yung payment natin na nakalagay sa invoices received. Kasi alangan binalik na natin tapos babayaran pa rin natin. So mali yun. Next, would all invoice pricing and the calculations errors be detected and resolved prior to payment? So dito naman, if magkakaroon daw ng error sa pricing ng invoice na matatanggap natin, then we should also set policies para ma-detect agad siya. Kasi pag na-detect lang natin yung error, then after naman natin magbayad, medyo mahirap na siyang habulin. Kaya as much as possible, sa early period pa lang, ma-monitor na natin yung mga ganitong errors para iwas na siya sa iisipin natin. So, ayan, sa mga refund, gano'n, medyo matatagalan pa. Then, is there adequate segregation applied between those originating purchase orders and those authorizing the relevant invoice for payment? Ito naman is pinakagusto kong bigyan ng emphasis, yung segregation of duties. Dito sa key issue na to, sinasabi na dapat daw nating bigyan ng proper segregation of duties yung gumagawa ng purchase order at nag-authorize ng invoice. Kasi, yung scenario dyan, halimbawa, ako yung nagbibigay ng purchase order. Then, I decide what are the needed materials, supplies, ganun. Para pag ako rin yung nag-authorize ng payment, then most likely na mag-authorize na ako, go-authorize, magbabayad kasi wala namang na-control sa akin. Kaya importante talagang may proper segregation of duties para ma-regulate ng tama yung pagbabayad natin sa utang. Then lastly, is management provided with accurate and relevant data from the accounts payable system on a timely basis. So lastly, sa detailed issue under accounts payable is yung pag-rely natin information sa management. So we have to ensure din kasi na yung management, updated sila dun sa mga binabayaran nating accounts payable. So it greatly affects din kasi yung decision nila. So halimbawa sa finance mix, babawasan nila yung utang and magkakaroon ng additional investment if nalaman nila na masyado na palang malaki yung utang ng company. Then kapag kasi naging updated sila sa mga information, yung decision nila is pwedeng hindi siya maging for the best ng company. Kaya a certain internal control or policy perhaps should be implemented din para from time to time meron silang updated data and magkaroon sila ng wise decision making for the best of the company. So sa lahat naman ng aspects, 'di ba? Aspect dapat accurate and timely information kasi it really does matter sa decision making. So yun lang. Next naman is yung other reporters natin, discuss nila yung other key functions. So ayan, thank you for listening to me.